Good evening, everyone. This is Vicky from PyLadies Dublin, and welcome to this evening's and this month's PyLadies virtual event. We have two speakers this evening, Nabanita and Michael, and I'll have as before. I will have I'll start with announcements first before our speakers come along and give their talks, and we'll have Q&A afterwards as well. So first of all, I want to say thanks to the Python Software Foundation because aside from looking after the trademark of Python, they were also Meetup is also covered by the Python Software Foundation Pro Network. Of course, the PyLadies. Without PyLadies, we won't have PyLadies Dublin, and Coding Grace because we are using StreamYard to streaming this live stream out to YouTube. This is our team, current team. We have Lay, myself, IK, Andressa, who is joined us late last year, running Python study groups, and we have Mick, who is also our speaker this evening. Some events coming up. I've only picked. There are quite a number of events coming up next month, but I've picked some events, which is the Women Tech Makers Belfast in their special International Women's Day conference on March 4th, sorry. And down in Cork, Girl Develop It has a code and coffee at the Republic of Work on March 9th. Because March is a big International Women's Day month, there's going to be lots of events happening. I've curated some of them at diversityintech.fyi, so check that out. And if there's anything missing from the list, do let me know. I'll update it as well. So anything from diversity in tech events in and around Ireland and Northern Ireland, and kind of startup events as well, let me know. Thanks in advance. And the PyCon Limerick is happening in March 25th down at the Strand Hotel. They are currently looking for speakers. The deadline is on March the 5th. Head over to pycon.ie for links to register or submit your talk as well. And of course, if there's any, as well as diversity in tech events, if there's any other Python related events, do let me know. I will add it into our next events. So you can email us at dublin@pyladies.com, and we're on Twitter at PyLadiesDub as well, and we're also on Facebook and on LinkedIn. I mentioned before earlier, Andressa is running a Python study group. We did a trial run just before Christmas. Did the Athens code. It was a lot of fun, and we're gonna restart we're going to start this year with the Python study group in March. So that's the first Thursday there, March 9th. And it's open to people all levels, especially beginners. We will be posting, publishing and announcing on our Meetup page. And also on our various social media platforms as well. So keep an eye on that if you're interested. They won't be videoed. It'll be over a Zoom session. And so if you're interested, keep an eye out. And if you want to help out in the Python study group, come along as well. The more the merrier. And next month, we're going to be back in Microsoft, and it's going to be in person on Tuesday, March 21st. We're going to have two speakers. I will the event page is created on Meetup. I will announce this evening, so you'll see more details. But you can pop over to Meetup if you want to see who the speakers are, and bring a laptop along. We're going to try and get back into the whole evening where people can bring along their projects, work together, work by yourself, ask for help, demo stuff. So we're kind of and then we will have two short talks at the beginning, but the rest of the evening will be all down to everyone having a great time coding and networking and stuff. Of course, we are looking for speakers. There's one more slot for March, but from April onwards, we are looking for speakers. So if you are interested or you know someone, or if you think of a topic that you want to hear about, let us know. Drop me an email at dublin@PyLadies.com, and we will see what we can do. And of course, because we're streaming to YouTube, I will have to say, do like and subscribe and hit that bell button, and do be notified of our upcoming videos as well. So this evening we have Nabanita Roy, who she's been our past speakers in the past, and she'll be giving a talk on 3 quick, easy, and no scraper ways of getting text data from using Python. And we have Mick, who will be talking about VisiData. As he says, I love VisiData. So let's see. So if you have any questions, do pop them on to live chat, and I will put them. I will during Q&A. I will pop them up for both our speakers, and then we'll wrap up. I said 7:45, but we can wrap up a bit earlier as well. But so first of all, what I'll do now is I will bring in Nabanita, who will give her talk. So hello, Nabanita. You're on mute, and I'll bring up your slides. Hello. And if you're ready, I'll hand the floor to you. So thank you.
Yes, I am ready.
All right. Enjoy, everyone.
Hi, everyone. My name is Nabanita. I'm a data scientist at EY, and I'm also the education lead at Women in AI Ireland. And today I'll be talking about 3 quick and easy, no scraper ways of getting text data using Python. Um, Basically, this talk is for people who want to get some custom data and want to experiment on data that is collected from the internet in general. And because of that, you might go through maybe beautiful soup, which could be a bit complicated for people who would not understand HTML layouts. So Python and people open source has basically made it easy for us to get hold of such data. And let's begin with a very short um, agenda. So basically, I don't have a lot of slides here. I have a longer demo. What I meant by no scraper means you won't have to construct a whole scraper that reads the HTML, goes through the body, goes through the whole structure, how it has been, how the links have been embedded, how the texts have been embedded, where the images are. You don't have to know all that. You just have to hit a few, lines and use some query terms, and the data will be there in form of an iterator, and then basically you can iterate through that and get that data into a pandas data frame or whichever way you want to store that data. um, that that's what I basically meant by no scraper. It's basically a Python wrapper over certain scrapers that's already there, that's doing the job for you, and it's just making your life more easier as a data scientist um, or data analyst. So why we scrape data? So a no brainer. There are loads of data available on the internet, but specifically because I know from my experience, I like to experiment whatever I learned during my academics and whatever I learn now on some custom data, which just helps me to explore more on the current topics, or things about which data is absent. Like if you might not find them on Kaggle, you might not find them in UCI repository. So custom data um, is just available, and it's just only a few Python lines away. So that's why scraping data. Also on the internet, you'll get different kinds of documents, blogs, tweets, news posts, Facebook posts, images on Instagram, and videos as well. So getting all the data and processing is an art, and Python makes that doing everything just easier. And so today we will look at three different Python libraries. One is Wikipedia, the other one is Essence Scraper, and the last one is Pattern. So Wikipedia, Essence Scraper, and Pattern, they all get data for us, and it's just very simple in maybe 5 or less than 10 lines of code, and you get readily accessible data in a pandas data frame, and you can save it in CSVs depending on what logic you apply to create them. So I'll quickly move on to the demo. And I hope you can see my Google Colab notebook. So Vicky, can I pop in the Colab link on the comments somewhere? Or
Yeah. You can only have one window at a time. Sorry, everyone, for popping in. And yes, we can see your notebook fine. Yes, and you can pop it into the comments on YouTube chat as well.
okay.
And I'll copy it and I'll post it on. I'll also add it to the post event message as well. And I'll pop it on if I'm tweeting. I'll pop it out to people as well. Is that okay?
Okay. So this is the link here.
Okay.
I can't send it on the comments here. Let me just send it here to you. Okay, so we'll start with Wikipedia first. So why Wikipedia? Why do we scrape data from Wikipedia? Usually when we go for text analytics, Wikipedia is a rich source of information. It's diverse information. It's crowdsourced from multiple places, and it stores information in different languages. It contains information about people, things, events. It's got historical records and everything. So Wikipedia is a rich source. And what people do usually, researchers, they take in this data and they train models using Wikipedia articles. And you must have seen like Glowy, Word2Vec. They were all, but they're all trained on Wikipedia data, and they usually use this data to produce big data models, and uh, and they just use it for transfer learning. Um, so we'll start with getting data, and for that you basically will require first the Wikipedia Python library. And then importing Wikipedia, you basically, like I say, that you have to use some search terms in order to search these pages, Wikipedia pages. So here what I'm doing first is I'm trying to search Wikipedia articles that contains the word PyLadies. It's going to return me all the Wikipedia pages that contains the word PyLadies. So now that I have Wikipedia installed already, I search for PyLadies, and it's giving me 3, 4, 6, 7 results. So these are all web pages. So if you maybe select this and go to Wikipedia, it's going to give you the PyLadies page there. So you can see it. It's also in the URL, and it's also the name of the Wikipedia page. So these are all names of pages here, and you can use and or these for adding onto your search term, adding logic to your search term. So now if I want uh, articles that has PyLadies and Python both, you see Dogpatch Labs, it's been removed because PyLadies and Python, they do not occur together in that page. So I have a list of 6 pages here, and then do that. If I do PyLadies or Python, so it's also going to get me like um, other references where Python is present, and as well PyLadies is present, and individually they're also present in these articles. So skipping all that, basically coming here, I so I'm now since I used already search to search for articles that contains these search terms, I go to wikipedia.page, which gets the content of individual pages using their titles here. So, and once I query that exact name here, wikipedia.page PyLadies, I'm passing that as an argument. I get back a Wikipedia page object, and that basically contains the content of the page, the URL, the links in there. You can also access the media that's embedded in those pages. That's the PyLadies page, and that gives me the content here, gives me the URL, gives me the links which are in here, and these links are names of the other pages that are mentioned in the PyLadies page. So if you're looking for related documents as well for scraping, so you can automate that as an links that are present in the links, go and scrape those contents in Wikipedia as well. So here's a very it's just a very little demo on how, when you get that data, I basically append everything that I have in the results list. Uh, all the pages that I have when I query for PyLadies, I use them all. I scrape all the title, content, URL, links into this list, and then basically use pandas and dump everything that I have in the list as a pandas data frame. So there you go. You got your title, you got your content in here, you've got URL, you've got all the links in here, and you can also loop in through, like I said, through all these links and sites. If you query gender identity, COVID-19 pandemic, you'll get all the contents which are related to these pages here, and then you can append onto your data set. And of course, you can save it as a CSV and use it later on. So the only drawback of the Wikipedia library is that it doesn't give you the tables out of the box. So you might have to see it'll be in the form of CSV. So comma separate values in between the text. So you will have to use your own logic to get them all that particular section sorted out as separate tables. Apart from that, everything that you want will be here. You could also query depending on which language that you that you might choose. So that was Wikipedia, and now we go to Twitter. So we use Twitter in order to get social media content, and we use tweets for proxy of social economic descriptors. We use it for sentiment. We use it for mental health use cases. Uh, we use these social media content as proxies for understanding various sectors and and derive insights from them. So for this one, so first one I'll be using Essence Scrape, and the next one I'll be using Pattern. So they have got one very basic difference. Essence Scrape is it's also very simple. Pattern is also very simple, but Essence Scrape just gives you the tweets, and Essence Scrape also allows you to get data from Facebook, Instagram, and some other social media. I think it also gives you some stuff on LinkedIn. So Essence Scrape gives you all the scraped data, and it contains more attributes of the tweets than Pattern gives you. So Pattern basically gets data from Twitter, but it also gives you some modules to apply machine learning, as well as you can use networks as well of users and contents, and do some sort of and apply graph machine learning on it. So Pattern has a whole lot of machine learning and AI going on in there, whereas Essence Scrape is just getting content, and the content in Essence Scrape is rich, whereas the content in Pattern is sort of minimal. So now that I have installed Essence Scrape, I will import the Twitter module. So that's snscript.modules.twitter as sntwitter. So here I've used from keyword. So from keyword is basically the username, and I tried to get the tweets that PyLadies Dublin has been tweeting on, and this is it. So like I say that it gives you an iterator. So this is a generator object, and it holds all the responses from the PyLadies Dublin. It basically holds all the tweets from PyLadies Dublin. And now I basically use break here just to show you how each tweet looks like. And so I search for the same thing again. And there it is. So so PyLadies Dublin posted something as in scraping is popular social media. So that's very that's at 1850. So I guess Vicky posted it just right now. uh, so we get this. So basically, the top one from the latest we get as an output over here, and so that's from this username. So now we can also query depending on what search term you use. You don't really have to always use from or since, when, or hashtags. You just can just put in maybe just PyLadies and search for that. So it's just like a particular word occurring in multiple tweets. You're gonna get that as a result. So in here, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna query hashtag PyLadies and hashtag Hamburg. I've been following them. They produce a lot of content on NLP. So these guys, so when I use this, so there's an unspoken and in there. So it's just going to return me the, the tweet which contains both PyLadies and Hamburg hashtags. And you see you've got Hamburg here, you've got PyLadies here, and you get the tweet date, the ID, the content, the Twitter user as well. And this is a whole school of attributes available. You get the URL, date, content, ID, that's all you've seen. But it also gives you the user's display name. It also gives the ID, description, verified or not, followers, friends count, location. It gives you the tweets, replies count, reply count, retweet count, like count. It gives you the media, so the images shared and mentioned users, as well as language. Um, so and in here I've um and sorry, so this is basically a subset, a big subset of all the attributes. There are more attributes apart from these. There are, I think, 5 or 6 more attributes available to scrape using SN Scraper, which is very handy. And then like I said, in Wikipedia as well, you can use and or. Same way here, you can use and or logic to fire your query terms. Apart from, you can also use since and until. You can also use lang en to filter out the languages. So since is the starting date, until is the end date, and you can carry on scraping all that data. Now, since it's a generator object, it collects a lot of tweets. And if for example, if you query something like, say, ChatGPT, you know, it's just going to get loads of tweets on them, and it could be millions of tweets that contains a particular term, and it could go into an infinite loop then to append get the data, append in a list, and then throw it in a data frame. It just could get an unending list. So it's good to have like a break condition statement where you can add a certain condition. Like I've used max tweets. So if it's gotten like 50 tweets already, once you've used enumerate on it, so basically with enumerate, you're counting the number of tweets that you're iterating through. So once you've finished 50, stop, get all that data into a data frame, and then put it in a CSV. So I'm going to run this now. So whatever PyLadies has posted until today, and it starts from 117. So the list is from the first date. Um, and it contains 7 tweets so far. in the month of Jan. So it contains till 1st February. So it just doesn't have whatever they've posted in February. So, but this is an example how you can get all that data. Once every time you iterate through a tweet, you save the date, ID, content, so raw content, user.username, and similarly you can append all this data in and throw them all in a data frame and save them as a CSV. So that's Essence Scrape. I only tried it out for Twitter, so I don't have demos for Facebook. But we'll go on to Pattern now. Quickly, I'll install Pattern and uh, I'll import the Twitter module. So it'll just take a while. So basically, the Pattern library is very rich in machine learning as well. While it gets data from Twitter, so it could also uh, do pause tagging. So basically, part of speech taggings. You can train your classifiers using the data, and you can encode all that information. I haven't explored that as much because I usually like to get my data from Twitter and then use everything on scikit-learn or Keras. Go onto the other side. I have never used patterns graph or their machine learning capabilities, but I hope to explore sometime because when I was preparing for this, I explored it and it looked very cool. So, so basically, in Twitter, calling the Twitter object and then going again for a search. Of course, like I said, you'll be searching a lot in these to get data from these APIs. So hashtag PyLadies and start one and count three is just going to get you three three results, and they're all a list of dictionaries which contains the URL, ID, text, language, shares, and profile. So it's just 7 set of data, and this the ID is unique on Twitter. So if you can link back with this ID that you get from pattern to whatever you get from Essence Scraper. So just in case you have a particular data set that you've gotten from there and a particular data set that you've gotten from here using a pattern, you can basically join them with on this IDs, on the tweet IDs or the user IDs. So that's only a handful: URL, ID, text, language, author, date, and profile. And you can also query it just like you queried Essence Scraper. So there's a scraper that's going on in the backend, and it's just doing the heavy lifting on creating those web requests. All right, so this is a small demo of how you can create a classifier. So this classifier basically gets all the tweets that contains PyLadies and models itself to detect some pause tags. So tag basically tags these tweets and finds out if it has got Dublin in it. If it's got Dublin, then it's going to say yes. If it doesn't have Dublin, it's going to say no. There could be more logics around this, and then you can use that data with these labels to do a training here. And once you've got this training done, you can use this. Okay. Definitely something wrong in there because this worked a while ago. So I'll not waste time right now. So basically, once you run this, I'll update the code in the Google in the collab file, and it's going to be updated on my GitHub. So once you run this, it's basically says, so when you run classify sweet little burger, it gives you a no. That means it doesn't contain Dublin, and I am at PyLadies Dublin, it contains Dublin. But in various forms, actually, this gives you you can make this more advanced, and the ability to do this is because you've got like more incoming tweets, so it'll be easy for you to cluster and divide these new tweets and classify new tweets depending on what logic you've used on this classifier, because this is a very simple one. It's like it's very rule based. I mean, you could also do this rule based, but there are more techniques that you can use to build your classifier and get your build your own classifier based on your logic, and classify incoming tweets directly only on pattern, and you won't have to go to scikit-learn or keras or use any other Python modules. So I think that's it from from the demo perspective. um, I'll head back. So basically, thank you so much for attending this talk. I learned a lot while preparing for it, because I used to just only go and scrape and never compared each of them. Um, but please drop down any comments if you've got, and if you've got any questions about this. Thank you so much. Thanks, Vicky, for hosting these talks. They're very helpful for me. I get to learn a lot.
That was
That's it.
pretty cool, is all I could say. Nabanita, thanks for demoing that out. Live demos are hard. So, like, that was still, even though there was it probably was a small error there, but yeah, everyone just like, I popped the GitHub link in the chat, but I will share that in the post event
Mhm.
message as well. And I also tweeted it out also. So, but yeah, that was pretty cool. Like, because people, as I said, that like, when people think of web scraping, they also think of beautiful soup and start doing all this stuff. But
Yeah, I know beautiful soup gets very, it gets crazy.
and you have some meaningful results as well. When I just looked at it, especially, it was pretty quick. I just, as I was tweeting, I was taking snapshots and
Yeah,
tweeting it
it
out.
is
So,
quick.
and I was like, oh, okay, it did work.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't post. I don't tweet as much on PyLadies as I should, but it was pretty good. Thanks for the demo. But do you want to say a few words before we switch over to Michael? Because Nabanita is also part of Women in AI Ireland. For those who don't know, we did
Mhm.
partner last year for one of your programs, but you've been doing everyone has been doing such amazing things since then, like, and you have some upcoming stuff that you can share as well. I know you ran a meetup recently in person, one both
Yes.
simultaneously in Dublin and Cork, so well done to
Yes.
everyone. That looks really good. So
Thank you so much. We missed you, Vicky, there. We would have loved to have you. I couldn't be there as well. But hope to see you next time. So basically, Women in AI is a do tank organization, and we like to promote more women force in AI, education, business, academics, everywhere. We want more women power, in also promoting ethics and fairness in using AI models and training them. So in Ireland, we do a lot of educational activities. We do loads of meetups. Um, we recently did one in January, and one in recently in Feb. So this is basically monthly occurrence. So if you missed the previous ones, you can definitely join us in the next few ones. So next one will be in March. I don't know the date yet, but there will be one in Dublin. There will be one in Cork. So find whichever suits you. Just be there. It's a great opportunity to network with like-minded people. If you want to know more about how to get into this domain, if you want to, if you are a practitioner and you want to network with people who has established their career in AI, so it's a place for everyone to just come down, have a drink, and talk and chat, get to know each other. That's it. And in our educational side, we run Y practice. So we haven't started my Y practice yet, but we will launch it very soon. The thing that to watch out for this year is Y tutorials, and we launched those in order to gain more, give more educational tutorials on AI. So it's going to range all the way from Power BI to Tableau to Pandas to Python, R Studio. We already did one on PyCharm and Google Colab last year. So we have more in line. We are also doing something on NLP and computer vision down the line this year. So that's something to watch out for this year. And yeah, I'm going to be back on PyLadies to talk more later on, depending on what we have coming up.
All right.
Thanks.
Cool. So people can find you. The main site, isn't it, womeninai.co? And I
Yes.
know that you also, the Women in AI Ireland actually has a group on LinkedIn itself.
Yes.
And I think I think it's more of a even Twitter is the Global Women in AI
Yeah.
account, isn't it? So, but if you want to specifically ping the Irish folks, they do have a group on LinkedIn also.
Yes.
So thank you again, and Nabanita, for your talk, and
Yeah.
also all the sharing all the cool things that Women in AI Ireland has been doing, and Women in AI as well. So I will switch you over. I will switch you out, and I will bring Michael on board for his talk. So thank you again. I'll bring you back
Thanks.
for Q&A after. Okay, you can chill now with a cup of tea.
Yeah.
See you in a bit. Hello, Michael.
Hi there.
It is great to have you on this side of the screen now, because you're normally in the background doing stuff which I am driving. Normally
Yeah,
we're all...
I just have to be careful not to alt tab into the StreamYard and get a nice kind of mirror screen effect.
Okay, I'll leave you to it then for your talk. So enjoy, everyone.
Hi everyone. I'm going to give a talk on VisiData, which is a tool I've been using for quite a few years now, and I just want to make sure that everyone knows about it because I think it's pretty awesome. First off, like, who am I, and why do I care about VisiData? So I've been working as a software engineer for over 20 years, mostly Python, but lots of other things. One of the nice things about working in engineering for quite a long time is you get to deal with a lot of messy data. Messy data isn't just for data science, it's for everyone. Frequently, I work with clients in AWS, dealing with billing problems, network data, and very frequently I'd be have huge data sets or messy CSV files I need to sort of slice and dice and sort of get an understanding. So I'm always looking for tools that help me do that. Now the other twist is I've been doing Unix for years and years and years, which means I tend to live in the terminal most of the time. And so I try to do all my work in there rather than in GUI apps, barring editors. So what does that mean? It means I like terminal-based applications, and I frequently have to deal with random data. So the upshot of that is Excel isn't necessarily my first port of call. So with that said, why do I like VisiData, and what is VisiData? So VisiData is, they dub it as a data exploration tool. It's kind of hard to quantify. It's not exactly a spreadsheet. It's not exactly a visualization tool, like more or less, but it's a sort of interactive tool for spinning through data and manipulating it, and you can save and load different sets of data and save them directly. You can even open SQL databases directly. And so I've been using it for quite a few years. Whenever I'm faced with a random data set, first thing I do is open in VisiData and sort of see what I can learn in the first minute or two. So the question, of course, is VisiData for you? If you're really good at Excel and you've got like the muscle memory, you know everything about it, and that's your tool of choice, I'd say keep using it. Probably not going to be terribly interested in VisiData most of the time. If you absolutely hate the terminal, don't want to use it for anything, it's probably also not for you. And finally, if you hate learning key bindings, this isn't for you. So VisiData is a bit like Excel and Vim, or Excel and Emacs combined. It is very keyboard driven, although you can use the mouse as well. So I'll show. But it's really comes to its own when you start learning all the keyboard bindings, and they're moderately sensible. So I'm going to give a quick demo. So first thing I'll be talking about is the Titanic data set, which is a data set of all it's one that I've seen used quite often in teaching kind of machine learning and data science. It is basically a data set with a whole bunch of info on passengers from the Titanic. So I'm just going to switch to my terminal and turn on a thingy so you can see what I'm typing. So what I have in here is I've downloaded it already. So I'm going to open it with VisiData. So it's use VD. And I can just do VD on its own, or I can give it a file name. So if I do VD on its own, it'll actually become like a little directory listing tool. So I can just go down to the Titanic dataset, and you can see it's an XLS file. So one of the things is out of the box, it won't read XLS and XLSX out of the box without installing a few extra Python packages. In fact, it has support for many, many, many data types, but quite often you might need to install an extra package. So in here you can see there's one sheet, the Titanic one, and if you open it up, you've got basically a spreadsheet thing. You can browse around. Just going to turn this off for a second. You can browse around. You can sort of do that. You can sort of scroll left and right. So as a way to view a data set, already for me is quite useful because just opening in this from in a terminal is very handy. And you don't have to use the keyboard. If you got a modern terminal app like iTerm or Terminal, you can actually use mouse and click around as well. So you can actually drive it from there. I quite often use the menus and I'm looking for something and I can't remember the keyboard shortcut. Quite often I'll just use a menu and go, oh, it's one of these. You can also click into rows and things like that. So first off, you can sort of see there's a whole bunch of fields. So survived is like a 1 and a 0. So if I do, turn this back on again. So first thing is you can quantify the types. So CSV, TSV famously doesn't include any information. So this is just all coming in as strings. So if I hit hash, it'll suddenly turn these into ints. And if I do percentage, turn those into float numbers. And so already you can sort of do different things with these. Like for example, I can add a, I could edit these or convert these. So if I just do a pivot on this, so if I do Shift F to view a frequency, I can, for some reason it shows error there. I think there's a missing number or something. Basically, I can see the split between different people and percentiles. Do it here. You can sort of see split by gender as recorded here. It'll show you ages. So you can see a distribution of ages. So you can sort of see percentage of people on the Titanic of different ages. You can go by tickets. So I'll make that a currency. Fare, sorry. So let's have a look at that. And you can sort of see majority were very low, but there was a few people who paid quite a bit. And so you can sort of already start doing things just with this. So if I pivot on this, you can sort of see embarked state. So as a way to quickly go through a data set, it's really, really handy. I use it all the time just to explore data sets. Like first thing I'll typically do is find a column of interest, hit Shift F, see if I get anything. For example, here you can see there's in fact 2 Miss Kate Connolly. So either there's 2 people or there's a duplicate row of data there. So that already you can sort of see there's something, potentially something of interest there. So if I go back to my slides, because of course I prepared so well, I remember them perfectly. You can also graph stuff, which is kind of funky. So for example, if I make a primary column of age, and then let's see if I can graph the survivals. You can sort of see a distribution by age along the bottom. So you can sort of see down there is the age going across, and then 1 or 0. So it's not a terribly interesting one. Let's go with fair. And here you can see a distribution of fares on this axis and ages along here. So you can probably see kind of clustering of kind of the lower fares along the bottom. It seems to be fairly evenly distributed in this part. You can also zoom in. So I kind of drag and select. It'll actually select data that matches that. So that's very useful for, you know, you kind of see there's one crazy bit of data up here. Let's have a look at this one. Oops, let's click on that again and just enter. You can see this particular row paid apparently the most amount. So things like that, it's kind of useful. The visualization is obviously in the terminal, so you know it's not going to necessarily be the best. You can also plot these in Matplotlib as well. So that's the Titanic data set. So and I'm linking to all the different things in Bitly now. There should be a link at the end to the slides as well once I make them public. So next data set I just want to quickly show is Irish cars. So the Irish Motor Associations basically has a little stats site, which is actually kind of fun to play with and lets you download them as well. So let me go to that to show what I'm talking about. So the official Irish motor industry gives you a bunch of stats. You can actually slice and dice by years, body types, electric transmissions, other types of transmissions. So if you're interested in sort of thing, you can sort of see car sales registered in the last year or two, sort of see trends over time. So I was kind of interested in seeing just, you know, the different kind of cars being sold for electric. So I downloaded it using the export to Excel. And let me just try it again. And use just one sheet. And in this example, this has been exported by the website, so it includes a load of crud at the top that you don't want, but it has the actual headers you want over here. So what you can do is you can manipulate this a little bit to get rid of these rows. I'll just get rid of these first. So just D to delete a row. Now I want to empty out that header first so I can put something else in there. So I'm just going to delete that. Save that. So now if I select that clear, I can then do another fancy key binding this to copy those in to the headers, then delete that row. And now I can sort of have a poke at the data to see what's going on. So I'm going to make these into numbers. Have a look by, so if I do Shift F here by make, there's more than one car sold by them, but it'll aggregate them up. And first, actually, no, I need to put a thing on this first, my bad. So one of the things you can do is you can run Python functions and you can have things like aggregators on columns. So this 2022 units, I do Shift plus, and then I can do Control X for a menu. And you can see you get a whole bunch of options. If I turn this off so you can actually see them. What I'm interested in is sum, but you can do a whole bunch of other ones as well. So I've added an accumulator on this. So when I do the Shift F again, you should now, instead of seeing just the count of makes, you'll actually see the sums as well. And so I can sort it by that by hitting the square brackets to sort up and down. So apparently Volkswagen sold the most in 2022. So if I press enter now on this row, it'll open up a new subsheet filtered down to just those fields. So again, you can very quickly sort of have a look what's going on just by doing this. So again, very useful for data exploration, because quite often interesting things will jump to the top in either counts or totals as well. So you'll see outliers more quickly. So again, this is just a very useful way to browse through this. And you can also then, if you want to filter by particular brand, so say in this example, I want to see only Teslas. There's two ways you can do it. You can either do the pivot and then go down to it and hit enter to go just to those, or you can use a selection thing. So if I do, for example, pipe, just showing up with a weird keyboard combo, but that's a vertical pipe, honestly. And I just type in Tesla and press enter. It selects you can see multiple rows have been selected. So you can see that mightn't come across too well on the screen, but there's a couple that have been highlighted. And if I do quotes, it'll filter down, it'll create a new sheet just with those selected ones. And then if I quit back out, I can also select a couple other rows if I'm interested, and then just do quotes on those, and it will filter down those. So again, it's a quick way to kind of pivot through data. Put this, turn this thing off. So if I go back, so you can do a whole bunch of different things to aggregate data and quickly pivot through it. Now, the last data set I'm going to look at is Irish properties, which is house prices. Now, this may come as a shock to people, but if you've not seen this data set before, but pretty much everyone's address and air code is very public data. So you can go to the property registrar and you can see, you can download all the properties registered and their prices for the last, well, as many years as they have records. And so I've downloaded the last few years into a file. It's a very nicely named PPR all. What I'm going to show here is, firstly, I'm just going to open it directly. And one thing you might notice straight away, there's a weird dot here where the price is. And this is actually a placeholder character. Basically, what's happened here is the data is not in Unicode, not in UTF-8. And it's putting a little placeholder dot instead. So because this is coming from I'm guessing this is coming from a Windows machine, you can open this with a different encoding to tell it. You can use VD to open with a different encoding to tell it that this is actually Windows 1252. And also VisiData can act as a converter. So I could rewrite this back out as a Parquet file and tell it to re-encode, for example, and it will like rewrite it all. So it's kind of handy for that as well. So if I reopen again, you can see it's now got prices. So that's nice. And this is, honestly, this is the most fun data set if you just want that, if you're really curious about housing prices in your area and if you want to get very depressed about the housing market. So the things I'm going to show mostly are just slicing and dicing through this data just to kind of get a few different things. So I'll turn this back on again. First off, you can do dollar, flag this as a currency, and there are about 583,000 rows. So if I do Shift F on this, what you'll see is in the corner it's calculating stuff, and you can see it's grouping little progress bar. So one thing that's nice about VisiData, it lets you, even if the data set is kind of too big to quickly pivot through, you can actually use it just to get a quick overview and you go, oh, I don't like the look of this, and quit out, and it will just stop the operation. So it generally doesn't hang too badly if it's doing something really bad, really big. So let's have a look at let's have a look at description of properties. If I shift underscore to kind of expand this out and then filter this down, you'll see the eternal joy of data science everywhere, that most of the data is this, and then you've got a couple of Irish ones, and then you one that's obviously been in a different encoding entered in. So you've got a slight mix of, I think that's a new house, and I'm guessing a second-hand house, been written into Irish. So if I press enter on this, you can sort of see the addresses, you can sort of see where they are. Most likely, yep, they're going to be entered in Irish as well. So yeah, that's always a joy. So if I want to say, so I'll go back to this and let's filter a bit. And I just want to have a look at, say, new dwellings, and then I want to have a look at the property size. Oh, let's say greater than 125 square meters. And then I want to sort by price. There are some crazy numbers here where it's actually literally the entire development is down. But if you scroll down to slightly smaller ones, you'll see quite a few ones here that are quite expensive. And so these are random different places. Now, so another thing you can do is you can convert this to a date and say I want to just extract the year from this. So if right now, if I pivot this, you'll see it's doing ranges of dates and times. I don't know why it's recording the times. So I want to create a new row, a new column with just the years, because I want to group by years. So I could just do equals to get the expression. And if I do date of sale, it should, no, this may or may not work. I might want to rename this first to see if this works. Because this is a Python expression. Yes, syntax error. So one of the problems here, that's not a valid Python field. Like every column can be accessed as a Python field. So I'm going to rename this column to just date. And then I'm going to do the same again. So equals. And then I'm just going to date.year. And you can see it's created a new column with just the year extracted. I'm going to make that into a int. And then I'm going to put on this. And now you can sort of see just group by year. These are all the different sales with this particular set of data now. So if I back out again, I'm just going to go back out to the totals. So top level. So again, I have to convert this. So each time you pivot in, you get a new sheet that you can access separately. So if I do split by county and go into Limerick, say, and do Shift S to get the list of sheets, you can sort of see all the different sheets are there. So you've got the frequency table, so you can jump backwards and forwards between them all the different views. So you can sort of drill up and down as you go. So if I go back to Limerick, make this a date, and then new column. Don't do that. I should undo that with Shift U. Rename it. I should probably have done this in the top level. That would have saved myself a lot of typing. I'm here now, so here we go. Let's go date.year. And you should be able to see a whole bunch of sales. Yep. And then you can do different things, like you can, I can make this a primary column, and then I can make this a currency, or it already is. I can add a sum, and then I can just plot this. And you can sort of plot by year, and you can sort of see the different values over time. I can pivot this, and you can sort of see a sum. Let's do it this way. I can see a sum prices by year. So this is kind of fun if you just want to kind of curious to drill in. Other things you can do are, if I go by error code, you'll see that it's got all the error codes, and I'm kind of not too interested in that. So I want to split this using a regex. No, that's not what I wanted. I wanted a, oh, I didn't write it down what I was doing. I'm going to do. If I want to split this, basically you can split using Python code. And similarly with address, you can sort of process these. So if you want to kind of pivot through, it's very useful for that. So this is both depressing and a fun data set to go through. You can see all the prices over time. And with that, that's me done. That was a very quick view into VisiData, but you can sort of see the kind of things you do. Things I've done in the past are chug through access logs to find suspicious activity, go through network flow logs to try and figure out where packets were going and sum up data. So you can use it with a whole bunch of different data sets, and it's a very quick way to pivot through. And you can sort of incrementally work. You can sort of pipe into a Python code into a script, and then pipe the output directly into VisiData, and then manipulate it and write it somewhere else. So you can sort of, you don't have to do everything in VisiData. Quite often I'll just do a quick little script that'll do a bit of crunching, and then just to filter down quickly, and then view it in VisiData. And with that, I think that's me.
Thanks, Michael. So as Nabanita, are you good to come back online? Oh.
Still sharing me.
Moving. Hello. Thank you again to everyone. And I suppose, is there anyone any questions? There haven't been any questions so far. But I can say during your talk, Nabanita, there was a bit of applause there because I thought it was really cool as well.
Thank you.
So that was pretty cool. But does anyone have any questions? If not, it was coming up to time anyway. But because I like demos take longer than expected, but it was also really cool to see things been demoed. But if anyone have any questions, you can send it to us at Dublin at PyLadies, or tweet it at PyLadies Dub, or post it on LinkedIn, post it wherever you can find us. Post those questions, and I will send them on to Nabanita and Michael there, and I can share the responses. We have just give me a sec, I'll just copy this. I will post the links to PyLadies have a GitHub repo of all our talks, and I'll post that to everyone after the talk, and I'll tweet it out as well. I'll update. Nabanita's already sent me the link to her slides and stuff, so I will pop that into the README in that repo, and Mick will update as well. And then if there's any questions, I will update that README for questions and answers from people. But what I will say is, if there's no questions for now, is there anything else from anyone to add? Anything you left out from your talk or demo, or you just you wanted to?
Well, I could add one thing. The code just ran with just rerunning the previous cell, because I think the Analytica data did not get fully downloaded or something like that.
Do you want to share your screen and just do a quick run again, no, or is the code is already updated and
it's just already updated on GitHub?
Yeah, so
And
people can just run it. Yeah.
Yeah, just to be mindful of a thing that because I just trained on a particular subset of data, so that particular logic might not work on the next subset of data. So when you run the search query once again, the whole search result is different, and therefore the logic that you have stated there also doesn't work all the time. So it just depends. It's just going to depend on what you have at that point of time. So that's why you have to save the model once you have trained on the data and then run through it.
Yes. So people are having problems with running
Yeah.
the code. If they didn't see the video, they can actually pop it in the issues as well on the
Yeah.
GitHub repo and just say, or add comments and say, I'm having problems and things like that as well. So I think, why didn't I put all these talks and slides on GitHub in the first place? You know, people can just comment on it. This is so much easier. But again, it's up to we're time. I can't believe we're on time. We're going to wrap on time. Thank you again, and Nabanita. Thank you, Mick.
Thanks, Vicky.
What I'm going to do now is I'm going to put on some. I'm going to remove everyone after we say our goodbyes, and then I'll have an ending slide, and then we'll just end the broadcast then. So thank you and have a great evening. And thank you to everyone who joined and to anyone who will be watching this video. I hope you enjoyed the talks, and see you next month. Bye.
Bye.
See you. Bye-bye.